Welcome to etcd community meeting. Today is March 9th, and we have a couple of topics. Ramses, do you want to start with yours?
Yes, this is conceptually it's very simple. A month ago, you submitted a patch for TLS3 on the main branch, but that functionality is also required by some organizations, including mine in 3.5 and 3.4, because 3.6 is too far apart. I am aware that the policy is not to backport new features, only fixes, but this has certain security concerns because organizations want to start using TLS 1.3 for extra security.
I mean, sounds reasonable. Can click it. The original code. So, like, I think sounds reasonable. Like, security has been a recent interest of etcd maintainers. So I think we can do it out. So it's easier to read.
Yeah,
I think I would say for me it qualifies because it's separate. Remember, separate flags that allows you. We don't change. Do we change the default? Ramses, do you know if?
Oh yeah, this patching introduces a new flag to activate TLS.3.
Yeah, so it doesn't change the default. I'm just like sanity checking for feature backwards, but like if it doesn't change the default and it's an optional thing and it improves security and doesn't break any users, I don't think there's like I think we should be pretty good.
Okay.
I would just ask the maintainers. So
yeah, I think I can jump in and address the backport to 3.5. I will be happy to do that.
Yeah, I haven't seen the issue that you reported, so I assume that you proposed it pretty 8 minutes ago. Yeah, so I would just CC on other maintainers.
Yeah, I'm also going to discuss with Benjamin.
I'm blank on the.
Oh, one question. If I remember correctly, backporting from main to 3.4 sometimes can be a little difficult because of large changes in the testing facilities. Is this correct?
Yes. So depending on
3.5. So it's wise to focus on 3.5 initially and hope for the best.
Yeah, for testing, I would not like. I could try to assist, but I assume some things could be like end-to-end testing could really changed even in after 3.5. So here we have embedded testing. Here we have end-to-end testing. So I could, but this is pretty simple, and this is integration testing. I expect some, but not very hard issues with backporting.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to divide this ticket into two, one for 3.4 and one for 3.5 to avoid confusion.
Yeah, I think for posterity, we need LGTM from one maintainer, but if you discuss it with Benjamin, like if he gives LGTM, like to make sure that you did like with his approval, you could just start work sending the
Sure.
PR.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Second topic, Gita, do you want to?
Okay, yeah, so this issue is to request some actionable guidance for the user through the error message for the quota. So today it just says space exhausted, but doesn't tell user what to do. So this is just a proposal to change the message towards guiding the user.
Oh, I must have missed this issue, so I have no context on it. I don't know if there's anyone that want to comment.
So giving context from what we see, we want to prompt people to delete objects, and being a managed platform, that's all they can really do. The end users of Kubernetes, they can delete objects, and the platform will do compaction and defrag. But the error message should be generic enough. So this is the last message. There is a new suggestion, and I see a suggestion from Cenk about adding a link. So we're trying to guide the user towards recovery instead of just declaring the error message.
Okay, so we would have a same. Okay, is this changes just the message? We have the same code.
Correct.
We are just at the message. Maybe question, assuming that by service you mean, do you mean etcd exposed to users or Kubernetes etcd running under
etcd running under Kubernetes is our use case, and this error message goes on like a Kubernetes API server surfaces this all the way up, so the user sees it.
Yeah, so there was discussion, I think Han maybe is more about for Kubernetes to hide those messages. So I don't know if that's the direction that you want to go. Like, I mean, I'm not against this, but I'm mentioning API machinery might want to hide the message and start parsing the status codes. And
status code would be preferable, I think. Status code would be preferable, yeah.
But yeah, maybe returning the status code. But you would get the status code. So you'd get the status code, but API Kubernetes could change the.
I can bring it up with them, but the request here is if we forget about the Kubernetes use case, just etcd, when we say that quota is exhausted, the current error message does not tell what to do. You're assuming Google search and go on from there. Instead of that, maybe add some guidance to the user about what to do.
Usually error messages don't have like guidance on how to fix the error. They just tell you what the error is. I mean, that's a lot to shove into an error message.
It's better to have a recommendation in there, right? Instead of simply saying, especially because the recovery workflow here is a little unusual.
I mean, if you're going close to the quota, you could raise the quota. I mean,
yeah, I mean, also I see here your message that you're proposing is biased by Kubernetes because you're saying about objects, which doesn't relate to etcd. So I would say that there is conflict, like there is a conflict of interests, like having Kubernetes give a proper message to users that reading logs and having etcd giving the message. So they could be a different, like what I mean is, depending on how you integrate etcd, the plan for recovering from exhausting quota could be different. So for Kubernetes, removing objects, for etcds, you could say removing keys or adding defrag or adding and compaction and defrag. So it's because we assume that Kubernetes runs those for you. So it's hard to say. Also, Kubernetes has built-in quotas. So I mean, it's not a big change. It's like, but I would obscure against writing full documentation.
Yeah, for sure. That's just not really what error messages are for. I mean, the error message should be sufficient for you to Google what to do, but generally shoving in remediative actions into an error message, that's not really an error message anymore.
Yeah, I would treat it more, I would approach it more, do we have a playbook and official guidance in etcd what to do in those cases? And maybe we should have a playbook. If etcd returns this error, then you should do X, and then use it as a easily, even queryable or a Googleable thing that everyone can find and map the error codes and understand. But I see the HANA argument that that's putting too much, like putting guidance into each error much, maybe not something we want.
Okay, sounds good. Let me check out the playbook. I know there are recovery instructions. I don't know if they guide towards deletion specifically. I'll review that and I'll add to the issue.
Yeah, because for me, you would have that approach would have separate playbook for etcd and separate playbook for Kubernetes, and they could be complementary, but not the same.
Okay, and if I bring it up with the API machinery to process this, any suggestion on what that error message should say? Is the error message proposed here okay for, like, any opinion on that from this audience?
The please delete unwanted objects seems a little weird in any error message, because error messages are supposed to tell you what the error is and not like suggest a mitigation strategy. There are many mitigation strategies. I mean, like you could raise the etcd quota, like that's another mitigation strategy.
Okay, sounds good. We can, I guess, take it offline. We can discuss through the issue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, two quick informational, I wanted to report two issues that we recently discovered. First issue is about etcd watch being starved under high load. And this is specifically relating to Kubernetes. It's reproducible that under some loads and some shapes in Kubernetes, you can basically break, or Kubernetes can break because of lack of watch updates from etcd. And the problem, Kubernetes is impacted directly because it has one client per resource, and if the single resource is big enough, it like pods, for example, it can be starved. So I encourage everyone that uses Kubernetes to look into the issue, and the fix will be pretty complicated, unfortunately. Yeah, that's one thing. Second, there is, at least I reported, another data inconsistency. This is still pretty early, but please, if anyone can want to help with it or watch, please let us know.
I can do a quick update. I was working on the fix. The fix is pretty simple. I'm just trying to go through the history of how this was added, just to understand it better, and maybe add an integration test. The issue is that when the which I mentioned here, when we restore the store, and we also restore the watches, and we set so-called min rev there, pretty low, and because it never updated because of the code pass. So I think by changing the min rev, I was able to avoid those warnings that were produced by the test. I'm still working on this, kind of understand like the history of the Minirev and why it is done the way it's done. So I can post like a quick draft PR with a change, but I'm still working on the integration test and
Yeah, it would be good to have some update because it's been over like a week, so it's hard
Yep.
to me to say we have someone working on it as we don't get we just didn't get any updates.
So a simple way to
Okay.
solve this problem would be to disconnect the watches when we snapshot. It would force watch reconnection, sure, but it would be correct. And right now we are not doing something that is correct.
yeah, we can talk more. I think the question is why the watches are restored to begin with. Is that what you're saying? Disconnect the watches and don't restore them?
Yeah, disconnect the watches. I mean, and the protocol, the clients will just resume watch from the last RV that they had, and things will just be correct. Like, I like it because it's easy to reason about, right? And
Yeah,
snapshots occurring should be pretty infrequent. So I don't think the cost is very high to disconnect the watches. That's just my personal take.
So we don't, maybe it's not clear what is the exact problem, like with the Minref or like updating it, but what Han is proposing, like instead of trying to over-design, if the fix would require us to over-design the watch recovery or recover function on watch, because this is what, when snapshot comes to etcd, I think every system has a recover function or restore function. So instead of complicating it, just assume that, just close the old watches and assume we start from clean state and depend on clients. Clients have a have code already to and can handle restoring watch.
Yeah, okay, I'll post the fix. I mean, the fix is pretty simple, and we can discuss in the PR if you'd like to. I mean, as I said, I don't exactly understand why the decision was made initially to restore the watches the way it's done. So I'm still looking into that.
Okay. Okay, that's all from me. There is one, or Jin, you send a recommendation, a Kubernetes recommendation. Okay, so this is Kubernetes recommendation about writing
validation. Validation is not error messages in general. They're not the same thing.
Yeah,
they're not the same thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah, but thanks for I think maybe Gita can look into that, but thanks for reporting or sending us the link. We just added for it not to get lost. Okay, so last topic on our agenda is Gita.
Yeah, I have one more. So this one is about wrong images for ARM64. I wanted to ask what's pending, or is there something I can help with here? Looks like there is a PR, but it's been sitting, and the images are still wrong, I think.
So here is small problem in big problem. From what I understand, the complaint is about sub-images. So not the main image of etcd, like which should not include the suffix of ARM, which is a FAT image, Docker FAT image, which is a type of image that is only metadata that points to what is hashes of where I can find the image for specific architecture, which just aggregates other. And this is the main image that we recommend to complain. But because etcd publish, like we need to push all images that are part of FAT image into registry, and etcd doesn't have any, let's say, like not publish, or let's say in Kubernetes you just like you have separate repository for releasing and separate for public releases and thing where you push images. So there is no gradual, let's say, moving from. So all those images, like sub images in etcd, are public, and the complaint is about a sub image. So for me, like one part of the problem is the problem that sub images are not tagged correctly, or the fact that we have public sub images that are not like for like technically not consumption. We don't want to manage like 5 or 6 separate images and ensure that all have proper annotations. We just have one like artifact that we want to release. So this is my current like thing. I think that like understanding of overall issue, I just on the PR exactly that with the fix, I think it got stuck in review or.
Okay, I will
I,
just.
like, I think it's an okay fix, but we just don't like, there is no like, yeah, as Benjamin mentioned, the multi-arch manifest or FAT image or manifest is correct. The problem is with sub images. So that's why it's like the issue was stuck. I think I mean, if you brought it up and start discussion, should we fix the sub images? And I think we could merge. I mean, yeah, we could fix. I think we could. It's not a big change. We could fix it. It's just question of like. I think the problem is not enough people care, like, because it's now it's a minor problem because it's not when you use a proper image you get the proper response. It's more about users not using proper image. And question: should we simplify and reduce what we expose, or should we make everything at the same quality? So I'm currently don't have like strong opinion which is better. Like whatever someone can do or propose, like do faster or would be easier to do. It makes sense.
Got it. Yeah, I wasn't clear on this sub-image aspect of this, so that helps. Thank you. I'll stay tuned to the issue. Thank you.
Okay, that's all the agenda that we have for today. Are there any topics that still someone wants to bring, or maybe someone wants to say hi? Let us. Yeah, any last chance? We have still 4 minutes, or if not, we will finish early.
Hi everyone, I'm GitHub handle JMHPNZ, James Blair. Just wanted to quickly say hello and say thank you for the guidance on a bunch of recent pull requests and helping me learn some of the code base. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, nice to have you, James. Yeah, I think maybe one thing that might be of your interest in others, I think I discussed with other maintainers that we have a lot of issues around, and we mark for all the issues that are important for people to do as important, but it doesn't work. I mean, it's not clear what is important, like still not, we don't get enough maintainers working on important parts. There's a lot of like less important feature requests. So the idea that we are discussing is setting a roadmap that would directly like list all the things that we want short-term and long-term to address, and it should help. And I hope it will help new contributors to to pick what is of their interest, because I mean I understand that it's not an easy. It's a daunting task to look for all the issues marked as important. But yeah, yeah, Ramses, do you want to?
Yes, one last question. What is your current estimate for 3.6?
No one is working it. We have a lot of things to like. We have a lot of things to do still in 3.6. We have a lot of things to do to fix in previous releases, and no one is working on 3.6.
Okay.
I propose.
Yeah, I would be really, really reluctant to release a 3.6 while the largest cloud providers are on 3.4, since that means 3.4 goes out the release at the supported version SKU.
That's part of the problem. I think previously we had longer release or support SKU, but it was mainly because of Red Hat that was putting. They had a dedicated person that fixed all the maintained all the releases. But current capacity of maintainers, we only committed to 2 releases because we have not enough people. I mean, yeah. So unfortunately, Rambles, if you want 3.6, like we have contributions opened. I have even an issue opened with a plan for a 3.6. I would need to update it, but it's still a lot of work.
Well, I was actually asking because I have a couple of teams using 3.4 and thinking about upgrading to 3.5, and well, they wanted to see the trade-offs. So yeah, upgrading to 3.5 makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there have been a lot of work and to bring 3.5 to stability, and at this point, most of the issues that I find using the new testing framework for like the robustness testing that finds the data inconsistency affects both versions. Now we have a framework that finds issues that have been there for much longer. So I cannot say like 3.5 is as good as 3.4, like in all, like, because it's too big a code base and I haven't read all of it, but I hope we got most of like all of them. So I can, yeah. So
Question for you about that. Do you feel that maintaining 3.4 is harder because of changes made to code structure and all the other factorings and so on?
I maintain 3.5, so it's hard to it's been long term, or I don't know if I backported many things to 3.4. It's definitely frustrating, but it's like the code structure changed, but it's one-to-one. Like there is high level reorganization, but there is no as much low level. So you just change the path and you will find exactly the same file. If you change the main file, you will find the sub files. Main thing about 3.4 maintenance is for me problematic because it was related to vendor. Like all the releases didn't have go modules, didn't have all their they had vendor, didn't have new. Yeah, we needed to bring 3.4. So now 3.4 is up to date with latest Golang. So it's not as bad, at least for backporting. Okay. We are over the time, so if you want, you can still reach maintainers via Slack. We have, I think there's on the page other contacts, how you can contact us. But for now, I can or see you on the next meeting in 4 weeks.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you. Bye.